Woman's Hour is one of the set products for Component 1, Section B of your EDUCAS Media Studies exam that could well appear on either, or who knows, possibly even both, the industry and audience sections of Paper 1. Unlike in the past, there is no longer a set episode of the radio broadcast. I'm going to base everything I say on an edition of Woman's Hour that was broadcast on the 14th of December 2023. And if you want to listen to this, it can be accessed on the BBC website or via the BBC Sounds app. And we're already a couple of points into a question on distribution in the digital age, even with me just saying that there. So, for starters, this is, of course, a BBC show. The BBC is a public service broadcaster, absolutely fundamental point. Imagine I've just highlighted that and triple underlined it, meaning it is funded by the licence fee. Currently £159 per year, but due to rise by a tenner to £169.50 later this year. The BBC ethos is best summed up in the words to inform, to educate and to entertain. They have a particular duty to provide content for all audiences, and a quick glance at the Radio 4 schedule makes clear that this includes many shows for incredibly specialised and niche audiences. We are talking Farming Today for obviously farmers, and a programme such as In Touch, which is for the blind and partially sighted. Would commercial radio provide content for such tiny niche audiences? Highly unlikely, which is one of the ultimate justifications for the licence fee and for public service broadcasting. No minimising risk to maximise audience here. Radio reaches 88% of the population, and within that, Radio 4 reaches 16% of all listeners. So, who are its listeners? Well, we can categorise them in terms of age, old, at least 35 plus, social class, ABC 1, high levels of education and cultural capital, and when it comes to Woman's Hour specifically, we can categorise, of course, in terms of gender, female. Woman's Hour is a show in what is known as the magazine format, meaning that each episode contains 3 or 4 usually unrelated items that offer a sense of variety and contrast, and therefore overall a sense of balance. Some will be light, others far heavier and more serious in tone. In the 14th of December episode, the light stuff comes from an item hooked on a revelation from Gavin and Stacey, actress Sheridan Smith, that she regrets having her tattoos on Regretting Your Tattoos, and an interview with soul singer Misha Paris, while the heavier, more demanding items include a report on the dangers of social media for teenagers and a potential change to the Irish Constitution. Stay tuned for more about that. It's as riveting as you'd imagine. The show is a fixture of Radio 4's daily schedule, broadcast at 10 a.m. Monday to Friday, with an omnibus of the best bits of the week on a Saturday. In the age of digital convergence, as I've already mentioned, audiences have a range of ways that they can access Woman's Hour. There is, of course, the traditional linear listening, i.e. via a radio at 10 o'clock every morning when it goes out, but also via the BBC website where you can find a huge archive of old shows, plus the BBC Sounds app, and in the form of a podcast on platforms such as Spotify. Audiences can listen on demand, and digital technology has transformed the ways in which the radio industry circulates and distributes its products. Again, imagine a highlighter over the word circulates and distributes there. Another effect of digital technology is the opportunities that it offers for interaction. At the start of the episode, presenter Emma Barnett invites the audience to contribute their opinions by a range of platforms, from WhatsApp to email to social media. It's worth remembering that these days, digital technology isn't just the preserve of the young. Your granny's probably on Facebook, possibly even Tinder, right at this very minute. Barnett is a bright, engaging, intelligent Mancunian, though, as this episode makes clear, clearly thinks that tattoos are a bit common and that most people only get them when they're drunk and are instantly suffused by shame and regret the second they sober up. Interestingly, two of the audience responses on the tattoo item, neither of which seem to suffer a scintilla of regret, are from listeners aged 73 and 70, perhaps giving us a glimpse into the age profile of the typical Woman's Hour listener. Old and proudly tattooed and possibly ageing feminists. The two intellectual debates help us clearly see how and why the show appeals to its audience. The BBC has a duty to remain impartial, so in both we have different viewpoints expressed. In the first, relating to the changes to encryption rulings from Facebook and Instagram, a representative of the Children's Charity Commission, the only male voice we hear on the episode, is scathing about Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram. So balance comes courtesy of Zoe Kleinman, the BBC's tech editor, who speaks in both a professional capacity but also in a more personal one as a parent. Woman's Hour offers a forum for news and current affairs stories to be debated vigorously, but also for a more personal perspective to be taken. The second story on the potential change to the Irish Constitution again sees Barnett moderating a discussion between speakers on different sides of the debate. This is a debate that makes real demands on its listeners. It gives a platform for really intelligent discussion of ideas and how they impact women. Elsewhere, current affairs could still be dominated by male voices, by presenters and politicians, whereas here it is very much female-centred. Vocabulary used, words such as denigrated, underlines the requirements in terms of education and cultural capacity that perhaps being made on the audience. And there's the expectation that the audience will be politically and socially engaged. The segment elsewhere in the episode, interviewing soul singer Misha Paris, illustrates other aspects of Woman's Hour appeal. Paris came to fame in the late 80s. Her biggest hit, I think, was My One Temptation. Absolute banger, trust me. So there's the fact that listeners familiar with her and interested in her thoughts and career are likely to be older. Then there's the fact that, as a black female performer, Paris offers a sense of diversity to what is often perceived as a very white channel and white show. It's worth noting as well that the show's second alternative presenter, Anita Rani, also offers diversity in this regard. In her interview, Misha Paris talks about her experiences as a female performer, and Woman's Hour gives a platform to female perspectives, experiences and issues that are often not found elsewhere in the media. Hence, this is a specialised show, a direct product of the public service model of funding, and a contrast to that mostly profit-driven world of commercial media and radio. In the past, the BBC and Radio 4, and also possibly 5, had this kind of niche, specialised corner of the radio market to themselves. But the growth of podcasting and rival stations such as Times Radio has transformed the radio industry landscape. Another impact of digital technology in the way that it has widened choice for audiences. How are the audience expected to respond to this episode? That will, of course, depend on their unique individual social and cultural context. Their level of education will affect their understanding of the more serious issues debated. While they may have differing takes on whether the changing of a word or two in the Irish Constitution has any meaningful impact on women's lives. Most women will take the preferred position that taking female-centred issues seriously is a good thing. Men might disagree. Finally, the issue of regulation. Radio is regulated by Ofcom, and in relation to Woman's Hour, key questions are likely to relate to the time of broadcast, complicated, of course, by the fact that in the digital age, audiences can listen on demand. especially the way the programme explores often demanding and sensitive issues, as well, of course, as the BBC's need to maintain at all times a sense of balance. And so that's Woman's Hour, BBC Radio. Hope you found something interesting there. Now go off, listen to it, listen again, and really get digging into that debate on the Irish Constitution change. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.